that's still not okay. That is still a problem. To understand the reason for this, we first need to look at human behaviour. The principles of learning theory apply to us as well as dogs. If we do something that works, or that is rewarding to us, we do it again. That's positive reinforcement. So Dave jerks Fido's lead to stop him from pulling when walking. Fido stops pulling for a bit. Dave thinks, well, that worked, and he has been positively reinforced for delivering an aversive to Fido. Let's say that this works as far as Dave is concerned for a week. At the end of the week, however, Fido sees a squirrel disappear over a wall, and so he pulls. And this time, when Dave jerks, Fido doesn't stop pulling. What does Dave do now? Well, he's always been rewarded for jerking Fido's lead, so the logical thing for Dave to do is jerk the lead harder. Now, if you're saying, no, Dave would think of something else, surely, let me ask you this. What would you do if your pen stops writing? Get out a new one, or scribble a bit harder? What would you do if the key won't turn in the lock? Call a locksmith immediately, or shove the key in and out, wiggle it a bit harder, and rattle the handle a bit? What do you do if the kids upstairs don't hear you yell them down for tea? Go upstairs, or yell a little louder? Be honest, we all experience this. It's called an extinction burst. If a behaviour we've previously been rewarded for stops being rewarding, we will try harder and harder before we eventually admit defeat. So Dave jerks Fido's lead harder, and it hurts Fido, and he squeaks and walks nicely for a bit. Now that Dave has been rewarded for jerking harder, he's more likely to do it again. But Fido's neck is becoming thick with extra muscle, and the nerve endings are deadening as a result of all this tugging and jerking. So when Fido pulls even harder and Dave jerks harder and Fido doesn't respond, now what? Well, there's a strong chance Dave will use two hands and yank Fido off his feet. But he might also look at something like a prong collar or even a shock collar. Why? Because he thinks he needs something stronger to get Fido to listen to him. Once you've started working your way up that scale of aversives, it is very difficult to stop. There are risks involved beyond just increasing the aversiveness. Pain. It hurts. That is why it works. Fear. It's scary. That might also be why it works. Physical damage. Many aversives are designed to cause pain, and with pain comes damage, collapsed tracheas, bruised necks, burnt skin, damaged joints. The list goes on. Mental damage. Subjecting anyone to aversive experiences they cannot escape from will cause psychological damage. Sometimes just a one-off experience will have a negative effect. Other times, the damage occurs after repeatedly using the aversive. In humans, we'd call this post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. There is no guaranteed cure for PTSD in humans. There is scientific evidence on the effects of prolonged stress and repeated trauma on dog behaviour. If we can't fix PTSD in humans, who can talk to us, what chance do we have in dogs? Incorrect associations. This is where the dog links the aversive with something other than his own behaviour. Worsening or new behavioural problems due to the suppression of behaviour. Using aversives does not treat the underlying cause of the problem. The behaviour you are seeing is a symptom of a physical or emotional state or condition, or it is just something dogs do that is inconvenient for people. Simply stopping that behaviour is not addressing the cause of that behaviour. Let's go back to Fido and Dave. Fido naturally moves faster than Dave. His natural and preferred pace for a walk would actually be a trot, around 5 to 7 miles per hour. Dave's preferred pace is a leisurely walk of around 2.5 miles per hour. If you've ever tried to halve your walking pace to match a child or elderly relative, you will understand why Fido struggles. So, to begin with, we need to teach Fido to walk slowly without pulling. He doesn't know how to do this. It isn't natural for him. We need to give Fido a reason to walk with a person.